The other question, Mr. Kela, is this unbiased or almost a universal tilt, if you will, or common tilt towards consumption stocks, staple stocks. Now, you, of course, amongst other things that you may have done, you've taken a large stake in a snacking company as well. I would just love to know if you, in your wisdom, believe that there is merit in buying some of the staples and FMCG names as well. And the reason why I find it intriguing is that while the budget allocates or gives, as you said, unlevered equity in the hands of the consumer, and HUL or some of the other stocks traded 45-50 times for 5-6% growth, right? Even with this kind of money coming in, is it? And the terminal growth isn't very different. Would you believe that large cap FMCG would find favor, or would it again be very bottom up and stock specific in the consumption space as well?
I would say, Neeraj, it will be bottom up. Let's not forget one thing, that the reason why some of these larger companies are having a lower growth is also from the fact that there are a lot of regional brands which are emerging, which may not be listed. Some of the companies on a regional basis are taking away market share. If you go to any wholesale, you go to V-Mart or you go to any of the stores at D-Mart, you will see that even though the overall consumption is not as bad as it is reflected in the growth of some of these larger FMCG companies, because there is market share being taken away marginally so by some of these regional brands and smaller companies. Because see, equity markets have been very lenient, and a lot of these regional companies have been able to raise equity via SME, via doing IPO, doing private equity. So that is also kind of taking away marginal market share away from a lot of these larger companies. So I would not say randomly I'll just go and buy consumption stocks. It will be a bottom-up stock picking, and I would emphasize more on the growth and the valuation which we are paying. Last 2 days, obviously, a lot of portfolio managers who are very heavily tilted towards the capex may have had to shift in consumption. But I would be, while I am saying this is a very, very good move by the government, the 12 lakh rupees no tax was not anticipated by the market, and it will definitely boost the overall consumption in India. But for me, from a market perspective, it will be bottom-up stock picking. By the way, even in this sector.
Some of the private companies who raise money via private equity also benefit from the likes of MK Ventures and Madhusudan Kela, who invest in these as well. But Mr. Kela, one of the large themes that you had recommended or suggested on one of our shows, rather, or not a show really, events, was alcohol beverages, right? That falls squarely within the consumption bucket, not necessarily just a very large cap presence, strong growth. Does the budget give more fillip to that theme? Are you even more bullish now on liquor companies?
Now, I am positive, Neeraj. I think budget does give some kind of a fillip, but our conviction on liquor is really medium to long term. We believe that state governments are going to be more progressive, more open, as we have seen in UP, and also what we are seeing in Andhra Pradesh. Very early days. So the organized players will get more and more market share. So I remain quite positive on the liquor space, but my view is medium to long term.
So, if I had to understand this, and I think what people would be curious to know, Mr. Kela, is how do you think people will spend this extra disposable income now that taxes are lower? Are they going to buy alco bevs? Are they going to go in for staples? Is there going to be some saving? Is there going to be discretionary spends? Because that's the biggest question right now, right? Where do you follow that money? What would be your take on that?
Or also, Tamanna, it could also be in buying houses for the middle class and spending part of this money into EMIs. Because let's say one middle class person who was earning money may have the saving of around 1 lakh rupee, rough number. So in a family of two, you have 2 lakh rupees of incremental earning in a year, which is roughly 17,000 rupees per month. So your first need is apart from regular consumption, your first need also be to buy a house for yourself, and that gives, and which is why I say it is unlevered equity, because that regular income gives me also the flexibility to do selective buying of the capex item, which I was not able to do before the budget.